Hello, my name is Gillian Shaw. Welcome to this session of Self-Service Banking 2021. I'm delighted to be joined by Intel's Dr. SB Nagu, or SB for short. SB is the General Manager of the Banking Vertical Market and responsible for IOTG business for banking worldwide. It's also a great pleasure to be joined by Thor Teretscher, EVP of Global Software as a Service at Meld CX. SB and Thor, a very warm welcome to you. Now,
Thank you.
Thank you. Morning.
Hello, really nice to see you. Now, at last year's conference, SB and I started a conversation about how technology is shaping the future of banking. In this session, we are going to develop the theme by taking a closer look at AI, one of the industry's hot topics. The question really is, how can banks use AI to drive digital transformation? To get us started, Thor, I believe you have a case study to share with us.
Thank you, Gillian and SB, for having me today. We appreciate the opportunity to share our story and potentially be able to help a few of our audience in transforming their branches ready for the future. So at Meld CX, we develop several products. However, for this session, we're gonna put a spotlight on Viana, which in short for vision analytics. Now, in this session today, you will discover how we've leveraged Intel OpenVINO technology to be able to track how customers interact with branches, like a website, pretty much. So to begin with, we've got a couple of things in retail that we're looking at. One of the problem really that we see is that in a banking environment, you have multiple channels. You have at home, you have in branch, and you have on mobile. Now, the problem is that at home, you're using web as a tool, and you can do self-serve, you could access all the products. And whilst you're browsing that, the brand or the bank itself can see everything you're doing. And at the point where you go in branch, unfortunately, only a few of those interactions that the brand or the bank can see, and therefore it's like a blind spot. So by the time you get out of the branch and you go start interacting with it, with the brand again through your phone, you will never transfer the interaction that you've got in branch into the phone. So today we'll unpack that problem statement and see how it basically helped that through. Now, as we were ideating earlier, the banking, this industry is quite big and there's a lot of projects that we're working on. We were ideating what's the best way to present this today. So the team came up with a great idea that instead of going through functional topics, we decided that it's best to showcase Intel and Meld CX capabilities if we walk through from the experience perspective. So today we will showcase a customer journey. However, before we deep dive into the journey, let me introduce to you Joy. Now, Joy is a selected persona for this journey, and yes, she is a character inspired from my colleague Joy, and shout out to Joy for letting us borrow your character today. And when you see the image on the left side, to us humans, we see Joy as an image, a portrait, and for Viana, our platform, you see Joy as a kind of blurred image with a unique ID. And that's basically our commitment on data privacy, and we convert video data to actionable insights without compromising customer data privacy. So to begin, let's talk about the entrance, right? And here, I don't know if you can see my mouse, this Joy coming in, we've blurred her face. And you can see that we've associated her with ID A392KJ002. Now, at this point, we're tracking Joy's impression, meaning Joy's consumption of content, if there's signage, engagement, meaning engagement to human beings, therefore staff or other customers, and interaction mostly on smart ATMs, the technology that are installed in there. It could be self-service kiosk, it could be a smart ATM most of the time. So we're looking into that based on number of people going in, so density. During COVID, we need to make sure that we kind of limit the number of customers going in. And at the same time, we understand whether you've got enough staff that would service customers that are going in depending on the time of the day. So here, there's always this typical bank would have approximately 5,000 to 10,000 digital signage screens across their network. Now, they will personalize the content, and that's mostly based on 70 plus products across their portfolio. Now, using our platform, we start tracking how effective their campaigns are by tracking audience attention towards the screen. We will know if they've glanced at the screen or watched the content until the end. And that's very important for marketers. So this is a zone engagement kind of use case. Now in branches, you've got approximately 250 to 450 square meter of space, which most of the time they break it up as zones. So there's one that is smart ATMs, there's one for discovery zones, there's one for the heart zones, and the mostly the prominent ones are the transaction zones. Now, we're helping them understand the intent of the customer based on zone engagement. Banks today is more about service, right? They're not just pushing products. They're not, throwing in credit cards everywhere. It's basically, if you go on the branch, it's about how do we provide you the best service possible so that, we'll be part of that journey every step of the way. So one of the key elements that we're tracking is that the queuing in branch. So we track how long customers are waiting to be serviced. So that's very, very important key. Then translate into KPI and figure out how well the quality of service that they're rendering per location, per zone. You will see on banks, especially here in Australia, there's heavy investment on smart ATMs. Now, the smart ATMs today can cover most of the low value transactions. However, it is still believed that it's underutilized and the banks are working really, really hard to promote its features. So we're helping them track behaviors related to at least, people using the smart ATMs. Now, how many are queuing up? How many came up to the teller and decided to do it at the smart ATM instead? So remember the queuing, we could track them at that point. And then by the time they actually go back and say, oh, the queue is very long, I might just do it at the smart ATM. Or there are situations where they're assisted by staff where right now they're doing a campaign where staff are educating customers, walk-in customers that say, hey, your transaction that normally you do at the teller, you could actually do it at a smart ATM. Sometimes we do weird use cases as well, like some homeless guy sleeping at night in a 24/7 smart ATM locations. Because now in matters of data, we're recognizing staff through their uniforms because in a very high kind of profile, high street area in Sydney, for instance, there's not much people going in. Potentially there's 50 to 100. And if you're tracking 5 staff that are going in and out, that will make your data difficult to digest and not accurate enough to be able to, useful for a decision-making process. So we filter staff. So we train our models to be able to identify uniforms. Now, a little bit about, insights that we get. We simplify everything. Now, we've found that in kind of banking environment, there's a lot of data science people, a lot of machine learning people that need to crunch the data. And the problem is sometimes you have to wait for a week or sometimes 2 weeks before insights are provided to marketers. At that time, it's too late. You can't do anything. So everything's lag measure. There's no lead measure that allows you to interact with customers real time. So these are real time insights that we've got. So start with people counting, zone engagement, which zones basically are getting most traffic. There's stuff as well from content effectiveness where we showcase the ranking of different contents that runs. And therefore, it allows the marketers to understand which amongst my 72 content are actually performing better, and therefore, how do I improve it? And then lastly, there's always a conversation around cross-relating everything, more like phygital kind of thing, physical to digital components. So here's one dashboard that we're working on where we're tracking what's happening on the web, what's happening on the mobile, what's happening on the kiosk, what's happening on signage, what's happening on physical space, aggregate everything and use the AI to actually do a pattern recognition that a person goes in, you try to understand what would this person be interested with? Is it a first home buyer? Is it a person having a baby or thinking of traveling overseas or loss of loved one or sometimes divorce? I want to basically conclude with this, right? So I want to leave with an insight and a challenge. Now, according to our research, the purpose of the physical branches is currently being redefined. Now, regardless of what it looks like, everyone can agree that it will be repurposed to optimize the bank's capability to serve their customers regardless of where they are in their life. Now, the key word there is service leadership, right? Humanizing the interaction and engagement between the brand and the customer. And that is likely going to be the role of the branch. Now, SB and Julian, we have limited time and I've made it as visual as possible. So I hope this session has been informative to our audience and we thank you for having us here and allowing us to share our story.
Thor, thank you so much for that absolutely excellent presentation. Loved the visuals there. It really helped me understand that how AI can really be harnessed to monitor customer engagement in branches. A really important topic. I have a few questions, if I may.
Yes.
And actually, I'd like to start with SB. SB, obviously, we can see that AI has a crucial role in improving the customer journey, illustrated so beautifully by Thor there. Is AI really a core focus of Intel, and what else are you doing in the retail banking space to power digital transformation?
Hi, thank you. Great questions. Thank you, Gillian, and also wonderful presentation by Thor just now. So if I take that questions, I would say that transformation is really nothing new for financial services. BFSI industry is typically the first to innovate and lead in the technology transition throughout all the history. You can think of if it is as a canary in the coal mine for banks. We see things in BFSI before we see them in other industry. AI is a similar, has the potential to transform almost every industry and is really making an impact in the financial services today. AI in banking, in short, will help financial institutions to improve the efficiency and the services, as well as the risk management and regulatory compliance. In addition, I think banks are continuing to look for technologies that can help them to reduce the operation costs. I hope that AI is the answer. AI is fueling the new capability, whether it's online or offline at the bank branches too. They are offering a lot of new services with the digital transformation from the cloud, edge, AI to the IoT. Intel cannot really implement all the solutions without a good ecosystem in place. Besides working with the hardware manufacturers, we are putting a lot of effort to support a lot of independent software vendor partners like MouseCX in enabling this new cutting edge solution.
That's a really excellent answer, SB, and obviously highlights the importance of building these strong ecosystems with partners working together. And I know that's a theme that we explored last year as well. So it's great to have Mel CX here today to illustrate that point so clearly. Just a point, actually, obviously we are still sadly in this current pandemic situation, and we're still being encouraged to reduce our physical contacts. And I was just wondering, does AI have a role to play in this? Can it provide some solutions to this dilemma?
Yeah, I can take that. Thanks, Gillian.
Please do.
So this great question. Post-pandemic, this is really the hot topic and the hot request by the BFSI end customer bank, which is the touchless or contactless interaction. Artificial intelligence come at the right time to enable this function for the industry. With more of these AI solutions deployed, especially on the computer or compute vision, this technology, I believe that we can categorize in the three key areas that to support the pandemic society. Now, first one, the act as a regulator to ensure the physical distancing are maintained through the vision's analytic. The second, reduce the interaction point to drive the lower infection with intelligent camera and a heat map. And the last one, I believe that it will streamline operational process to simplify the process and at the same time, maintain the security policy, such as utilizing computer vision to authenticate the consumer or customers and reduce queuing time when they step into the bank branches, as just Thor shared a while ago. I would like also to kind of touch example. One of the use cases that we have seen getting a lot of demand for this physical or distancing or contactless will be the example like integrating the AI functionality into the current transactional or ATM machine to transform it into the interactive teller machine or kiosk, just like what Tom mentioned, the smart ATM, right? Which enable the in-depth self-service engagement for consumer beyond the cash machine. But with the video teller or AI chatbot with a digital assistant or avatar. So in short, utilize AI will help to smoothen the process of the SOP during or post-pandemic, which will be the new norms for us in the future.
Yeah, that's exactly right, SB. It's really going to be a powerful tool. I do have a thought though. This one I think is for Thor. We're seeing an acceleration of automation in branches. And really, I'm just wondering, do you think the traditional banking customer is ready for more human-less transactions?
Yeah, it's it's a very interesting topic. In banks, there are different views. To people that are doing smart ATMs, they think there's no use for having the traditional approach. To the people that are selling home loans, definitely they think that humans are required to do that. And to the people that basically are in the teller, which basically the grunt of customers going in when someone complains. Sometimes they like it, sometimes they do. So I think the future will be a hybrid. More and more I see AI as an ability for humans to be more humans. Now it's quite interesting how I put it like that. The reason why is that there's a lot of transactions that humans do inside banks right now that are low value, low margin, and therefore there's not much association to emotion. So it's like routinary kind of job. So you don't do much, you don't even interact with a person. No one's even looking eye to eye, right? So I think AI would help through that kind of kind of routine interaction. Now, there are things that you cannot, do humanless, meaning a good example would be 90% of humans that owns a house would only buy a house once, and therefore it's a once in a lifetime event. And therefore when you make that decision of buying the house, it's very personal. You talk to your wife, you talk to your family, you talk to your friends. You would spend 6 months, years even, before you make a decision. Now you will only make a decision when you talk to another human that knows that space. And when you get that thought leadership, then you're ready to make that investment, because it's like another marriage, another 30 years, more than that, to get this sort of house, right? So I don't see that would disappear, but I think AI would definitely help human service humans better moving forward by removing the stuff that humans doesn't like doing anyway. So that's my position.
So as you quite clearly demonstrated in the presentation, you keep those sort of human transactions for the heart zone, which I quite liked.
Absolutely. Yes.
Excellent. So actually back to SB, it's fascinating to see just how quickly this AI technology is developing. Could you perhaps share with us some other similar AI projects that Intel is working on in the retail banking space?
Yeah, thanks, Gillian. Good questions. Besides the use case for the content effectiveness and anonymous audience measurement, my BounceX just mentioned or share, we also have seen that and done a few projects that in different regions, such as I just mentioned a while ago, the AI, artificial intelligence chatbot with the digital avatar, the digital assistant in the self-service kiosk machine for the retail bank. And also there's some others usages like the use of the AI vision analytic for the security surveillance at the retail banking premise, which is to complement the physical security today. So before I forget, I would like to do some advertisement here. In the upcoming next 2 section for the self-service banking section for the EMEA and America, we will have another 2 sharing section on the self-service kiosk for the digital transformation in detail, and also the introduction of AI chatbot, or sometimes people call it conversational chatbot use cases. I will strongly highly recommend our audience to watch this section on demand to know about these 2 new use cases if it's the time zone is a challenge for you.
Yeah, excellent, SB. We're really looking forward to seeing those use cases at the EMEA and the Americas conference in the next couple of days. Thank you. We are sadly out of time, so it remains just for me to say thank you very much to Thor, and thank you to SB for a wonderful presentation and a fascinating walk through the power of AI and how it's transforming the retail banking space. If you'd like to find out a little more, please do visit the Intel booth in our exhibition hall, where you can chat to SB and his colleagues, and they'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thanks again.